how we go about tapping into all this energy, workshop that follows this. And I will be talking about 8 systems that we have within our body that are little known energy systems that we have. How do we go about having spare electrons when it's possible for you to consider that you might less than ever have brought any spare electrons in through what you ate? So you might ask yourself, how could this be that you're sitting here? You may have heard that I don't eat, then I'm going to ask you, how is it possible for you to be here? If you've only ever done food, which actually there wasn't spare electrons in that food, but actually what there was something which robbed spare electrons. So how are you surviving, you might ask? That's the question. How can you survive if you really haven't brought any spare electrons in? Would you like to hear a little flute before we start? Yeah? This is a Pueblo love flute. For some near 30 years, I've been studying with this Creek medicine woman, and I really have learned a lot from her. When I first came over here, you know, you would have had to rope and lasso me to go to connect with a medicine woman or a medicine person. Native American medicine person. I thought to myself, what's this? Can everyone hear me? Can we turn that up a tiny bit? Is it possible for this system to be turned up a little bit? Thanks. We can raise the microphone too. Okay. No, that's going to work. Thank you. I sort of have found out that I'm going to suggest to you that it's possible that what you're eating, you may not really be getting the benefit from it, and it is possible for you to consider that what you're eating may actually be causing you to die.
We have that.
Do we have anything I can write with? Okay. Let's just see this word first of all. Oh, good. Thanks, Christopher. It is very interesting. What I'd like for everyone to do is to see the word E. Can everyone see that there? A, T. Okay, so what does this spell? Eat. Now put a big D in front and an H at the end. It's so amazing to me that the ancient ones so left beautiful messages behind. I would love for this lecture to be one of the most practical lectures. Things that you can take home and ideas that can change what you're doing. That we can have a sustainable future and work as a people, and that our choice of food and your choice of food and how that affects this outcome of a sustainable. The end of this, and I feel like on my side, I feel like I've really got to the bottom of things. If you're like me, which I suspect you are, then I have to say that many times I came and I was sitting, sometimes I was standing, but mostly I was sitting, just like you, and I came and I listened, and then I do remember the times that I fundamentally got up from my chair, and I was changed. And I've got to say that it honestly wasn't what this teacher said. When I fundamentally got up after hearing what someone said, and I was changed. I was fundamentally changed. And I have to say it was not what this teacher said. I want you to know that it was what this teacher was living between the words said. I remember where I had fundamentally changed. It was generally not because of what this person said, but it was much more because what this person was living between what was said that changed me the most. So I suspect it's possible that we are a lot more like each other. So first of all, you see the word eat, and the ancient ones put a D in front and an H at the end. Reminding everyone that really when you eat, you actually are dying. So now you keep your own thoughts and you listen to what I have to say and be open-minded, and you only will change things around on the basis of your feeling interested, and you'll change things around on the basis of having done maybe a little more study and this is something that's interesting to you. So the ancient ones left this message behind, and they said basically what you consume, even the very good stuff, will cause you to die. And so they called what you do and they really wanted to talk about food. So they put a T in with it. But they definitely want you to know, look, this is die, and you put a T in with it, and sort of that will explain sort of some things. It is interesting that also, eat has, death has eat in it. Certainly, evidence shows that calorie restriction will lengthen your life. So let's be kind and let's be gentle, and let's be soft and allowing. Better perhaps to have had that toast and felt like a little bit more like, you know, yourself than to have gone without maybe and just have had a pattern of having focused on what I less than can have. So be focused on what you can have and have a psychological blindness for everything else, and life force, and then move more towards self-sufficiency, and you'll notice naturally that you go more and more without. Those of you who are interested in this, to go more and more without. A couple of things that I would like to talk about. I would a little bit like to talk about magnetics and free energy. I'd like to talk a little bit about perhaps a small insight, where do spare electrons come from? How does matter arise in the universe where there was no matter before? We might dispel the protein myth, and I can share with you a little insight to dispel the protein myth. We can talk a tiny little bit about how do you get spare electrons. We can talk about zero-point energetics, and I'm going to explain in simple terms. We can talk a little bit about the garden that we have within, and that we're wrapped around our own soil garden, and things are growing in this soil garden incredibly. We'll talk a little bit about actually people's homes and the kinds of things you might be having in your home environment, which might less than really be enhancing your life and giving you energy. Put your hand up if you know that when you wake up in the morning, sort of where you're waking up. Put your hand up if you know when you wake up in the morning, my God, I feel fresh when I wake up. Whoa. Okay. That's something which you should be very critical about. How do I wake up? Do I wake up and I feel very fresh and ready and rested? Because most of us, we may not really be getting enough rest. If I could put you to sleep for 4 or 5 months, about 16 or 18 hours a day, I could just about heal anything that's in the room. Help heal anything that's in the room if I could just put you to sleep. That's all. Just to put you to sleep. But you would be asleep for about 4 or 5 or 6 months maybe. About 16 or 18 hours a day. There's no mental activity. Mental activity requires about 25% of all of your blood sugar and more. The brain has been consuming sugar so much, matter of fact, but unless you take a small 5-minute nap so the body can get its sugar, and once you take that 5-minute nap, everything is fine again. But the brain has been consuming so much of that sugar, and then you just like rested the brain for 5 minutes, and bam, the body feels much better again. Now most of us can have a situation of hypoglycemia. Life begets life, dead begets dead, and people just consume dead food basically. But life begets life, and I would ask you to consider perhaps questioning what has life force in it, and to move more towards food which has a life force, which is the ancient diet. Macrobiotics is not the ancient diet, cooked food is not the ancient diet, raw food is not the ancient diet, living food is not the ancient diet, life food is the ancient diet. This is the diet that we evolved to have biologically over the eons that we've evolved. So we're living in buildings and things which have lots of steel beams, which block out the positive and negative ions. You need positive and negative ions actually for having proper energy. If you don't have positive and negative ions, it's like you really need that more than you need oxygen. And you can survive without oxygen longer than you can survive without ions. You cannot survive without ions, and that is more important than oxygen. Most buildings that we live in, there should be 1,200 negative ions to about 1,000 positive ions. That's per square centimetre, it's just a tiny little space. Now that's how much iron should be in the air. An ion is an atom which has taken on electron or lost an electron, and that's called an ion. Water mostly is the way that we get ions in our atmosphere and everything, mostly from water evaporating and this sort of thing. But we do need ions really to run our electrics. Without ions, electrics less than run very well. So there might be a need for a negative and a positive ionizer and an ozonator perhaps where you are, because most of us are living in a building which really is poor because of the steel beams, the plastics, the wind on the metal, causing more positive ions and robbing negative ions and things. So it should be 1,000 positive ions to about 1,200 negative ions per square centimetre, but in this room we have about 8 negative ions to about 20 positive ions. That's all. So now you might ask, well, how can we be surviving world here where we're sort of like, we're in a place at the moment where there is very little ions? You actually take a battery pack with you and we can produce things inside ourselves, and that's what I would like for us to talk a tiny bit about here, and that's what I will be talking more about in the lecture, and that is how does matter form where there was no matter in the universe? How did matter form? And that there is a biological transmutation that's occurring within your body, which really hasn't really been talked about much in modern science, but in the years to come, this has all been quite well known, in fact, how matter forms and how you get actually spare electrons in your body. So we just said that buildings can really be poor as far as furnishing the proper requirements for having good energy. Something else which is really amazing is all of the buildings have a wiring that's right throughout the whole of the building, and all of this wiring has a very tiny film of water covering it. Everything in the room here has a very small film of water covering. And inside this water are tiny little hollow spheres, and they're called calthrates. And these calthrates, you could say, are like little amplifiers, and they have the ability to pick up energy and transmit this energy. So the energy that's travelling along the electrical wire has an energy which is spinning to the left. And this energy which is spinning to the left is picked up by these tiny little hollow spheres, the calthrates, which is like a water covering on the outside of the wires, and it sends little vortexes right throughout space, which is spinning to the left. Now all of us, as we have health, because we're just ever so slightly positively charged, we spin a little bit to the right, just ever so slightly in our waking state, and when you sleep, there's a slow start rotating a little bit to the left, and that's called an anabolic phase where your body is built. Without rest, the body is not built. Eating won't change your body, except it's possible that if you're eating foods that fat could have been deposited, but basically eating won't cause any shape to ever be in your body. The shape of one's body has a lot to do with what one's doing with themselves, not what you're eating. You have to have nutrition down, but you also have to have exercise down. You have to have both of these things down to have good health. So in the wiring, we've got this vortexes coming off, things which are spinning in a direction which is other than will support health. We have all kinds of equipment. If you're living in an apartment building, the person above you may have an electrical appliance that has a coil in it. All electrical appliances that have coils in it have an energy which is beyond just the electromagnetic field that you can measure on a gas meter or this sort of thing, like the energy field of a TV screen. If you go anywhere where there's high tensile wires within 200 feet, it's like living within a field of energy that's within 3 feet of a TV screen. Now, all sorts of experiments show that that really does affect the length of one's life and the quality of one's life incredibly. So if you're living near a high tensile power wire, you can have a field of energy which is equivalent to living within 3 feet of a TV screen. Any motors, any electrical motors that's above you or below you has a vortex coming off that coil which travels a long way up and down. And that is beyond any field that you could measure with a Gauss meter. And that really cause major problems. So when you have a refrigerator or you have a piece of equipment which is a little motor coil, if that's situated above you in an apartment above you or below you where you're spending the majority of your time, that can have affected your health incredibly. Mostly what concerns us when we're helping people manage geopathic stress and things, as one of the things that is looking at the place where you lay. And that's a place where if there is an energy field like this, that can have been affecting you. So the head should face north, the feet should face south. If you're interested in being lined up more in a mapping your effect more than an alignment of the body. Should be dark, should be humid. If it's not humid, then heat, but you've not considered getting a humidifier, that is extremely toxic. And if you've lived this way in New York, I could say that probably by shortening your life about 30 to 40 years. That's extremely detrimental, not just the time there. It has to be humid. If you've got things in your home, that is extremely detrimental, and that can be one of the reasons why you're left really waking up in the morning and feeling really fresh and alive and ready to go. So you should put something fresh in there as you wake up to hydrate the blood and unstick the platelets of blood. And mostly what I do is I bring in my own urine, and there is nothing more fresh than that. Otherwise you could think of maybe something fresh. But I live on my urine, that's what I really live on. If you could say that I have a substance that I bring in, and that's the substance that sustains me. So in people's homes, there can be energy vortexes, things coming from coils. There can be vortexes coming off the power lines. If you can install a waterfall which has some moss, it has rounded river stones, you can install an installation in your home, and that can cause a blocking of that spin, but it won't block the energy field, but it will block the way that energy field is spinning, and it's that energy field itself, the spin, being blocked. Please. How do you say that in America? Please? Oh, urine. You say urine. That sounds strange to me. You sure it's not urine? Alright. How is matter formed? Where there was no matter, you might ask, how is matter formed? Kirvan and others have done some studies to show where there was no element in the WD this. You could say that everything in this very square, small space, here we have the mass, enough material of a mass, certainly more than what's in our solar system. How to understand how it's possible that there's so much energy in this small space here, and your body moves through that space, and this is penetrating you. And you and I are like vapors, just like a vapor, actually, more like a cloud. If we talk about temperature, for instance, where it's freezing outside, that's called zero, right? And then there's absolute zero, how many degrees below that? But 500 degrees below is carbon. Right? 500 degrees below is carbon, and apparently that's where everything is still. So with 500 degrees of heat, enormous heat on the Earth, to get to a freezing point of water. How is matter formed? You could say that everything really is a condensation of cosmic energy being condensed through friction grids and being condensed into tachyons. Tachyons being condensed further through friction grids to become electrons. An electron really, you could say, really is a tiny little pinprick portal where energy is returning to the fourth dimension like this, being sucked back into the fourth dimension, where the energy came from. It came from a proton, and a proton is a tiny little hole, a pinprick in the ether, which is much, much larger than an electron. It's 1,800 times larger than an electron. So most all the energy comes from the proton, which is huge, and it's like a little portal, little hole where energy bursts forward from the fourth dimension to the third dimension. It comes through like this, and then the electrons are little sort of small pinprick holes where energy returns back to the fourth dimension. So, this energy is level, and doesn't just stop at the speed of light. Because, people have just discovered that you can stop and start light. So you might ask, how does matter form? For us to become aware that out here in the universe, where there is an emptiness, how does matter form? Matter forms as a result of the contact tachyons being condensed into electrons. You could say that water becomes expressed as electrons, and when you feel your skin, you're actually feeling electrons. That's what you're feeling. Actually feeling electrons. Water having become expressed as electrons in ourselves. Let's just consider this for one moment. Can you imagine an egg? Now, we know sure the egg hasn't been able to take any nutrition, right? Because it's really fairly sealed. Well, that'd be a nice example for us, wouldn't it? Because here's something which has never took any nutrition, right? It's an egg, and there is no cell in the egg, not a single cell. The first cell that forms is a blood cell. It's not really a cell, though it's called a cell, it's not a cell. It's a pre-cellular element. So, we've got an egg, there is no cell, but the very first cell that forms is a blood cell, an endocyte, and cells arise from a red blood cell. That red blood cell becomes a cell, and that's what happens in our body also. Blood is not made in your long bones. There's much that I could talk to dispel and clear away lots of false doctrines. People who are pristine, right, but their behaviour may not be. I have to say that ED certainly is not a degree that would teach you about wellness. Most MDs that I know, they stay school in their head, they've looked at everything negatively, everything over now is something negative. Even they would say that you have acquired innocent is called not guilty. They would never say, oh, you have a boosted immune system. They say you have a threat. No, it's like something negative. They've never learned anything about communication. And they often don't really read the body at all. They look at little bits of paper and stuff. And look at a screen or something. And they often have very little idea of screens mean. So visualize, if they talk about cure, or anybody talks about cure, a cure, through the scene. Through that scene, because that's a dirty word. It's like a worship. Worship, that's a dirty word. You wash up. That's right. Same with a cure. That's a dirty word. There's no such thing. There's only pickling things, which that's where the word comes from. When you pickle things, it's called cured. That's what chemo therapy does. You should know that where the word comes from. That's a dirty word. Sort of things where they hear that word. There's no such thing. There is healing. There is healing. But there is no such thing as, look, I'm going to take this and know you're cured. That's actually bullshit. But there is healing. And what do you do with the other when that's pickled? That's called cured too, isn't it? They actually, lots of babies have died cot deaths because of being laid on skins and all sorts of formaldehyde, solvents and things, cot deaths. It's not actually worth just about eliminated when you get killed. You're cot deaths, you know what I'm saying? You don't do it like this, so it's so true that you still have the highest, one of the highest rates of infant mortality in the world. And you have such a poor medical system, it's unbelievable. You have a president who has no idea, honestly. And you know, most of the people are just bloody morons. No, it's all right for me to say that. Morons, you should know that voting is electronically used. Yes, it's crap. That's good crap. So just know that, alright? All these people actually are bored. You know? Just bored, isn't it? Even the Dalai Lama really bored, you know? I came once to do a Dalai Lama and someone asked about nuclear weapons, and all the Dalai Lama could say was, what do you think about that? You know? Couldn't really say, look, I think that's just crap. You know? Get rid of them. Couldn't say that. You know why? Because we wouldn't be allowed into the country anymore. So, that's not really the position. They're often bored, you know? You're not necessarily doing empowering life. I just have maybe 10 minutes left. Such a short time that we're with each other. It goes so quick. One thing you can do is you could bring a positive and negative ionizer in. You could open your window when you sleep. You could make sure you're getting a little bit more fresh air there. You could burn a beeswax candle. Paraffin is extremely toxic. You should know all petrochemicals is extremely toxic. And they cannot protect anybody. Prophylactic sort of rubbers and all sorts of things like that are no protection. You need protection from that stuff. But you don't need protection from each other. That's bullshit. I'll bring it back. Okay, what's the difference between living food and raw food? So what's the difference between raw food, living food, and raw food? Raw food is just food that's underneath the state. A lot of people who say they're doing raw food, they eat a lot of flesh, especially in Europe. If you're a raw food, you're eating a lot of flesh. But raw, spelled backwards is raw, and the first definition of raw means the skin right off. So you don't do raw food and say what raw food is raw. And who I was and trying to advise us for many years, and she coined the term living, because she realised that, hey, lots of food, which is weird and suspended animation, it has depended on inhibitors and everything in texture, and that causes blood cells to clump and liquids, and so she taught people how to sprout stuff. So she got people sprouting the food. Really, also, I was going to put on the grass. can't be seen going wild in nature. And because of my microscopic background and my physiological background, I know that a lot of those foods are sort of colonised by modern science and rules. Also, may not be living building, probably. When it works, that's the thing. Now, I've not really touched on this yet, most of it. But I'm really research of this, but I'm not in a hurry to look at it and make sure that absolutely is absolutely excellent that I'm in the releasing. I care that you get a therapeutic metaphor as you listen to me, that I've been able to say things that you have in your heart that you want to hear. And I have written things very much to say. So we have some of the most profound writings in the world. There's a Russell nutritional book out there which explains some of the cleansing and things. So yeah, I don't want to take up the time talking about this. Maybe there's one more question in there just here. Okay. So, most people look at me and they think, my God, you look amazing. You must be one of the first people I've ever met. Now, I can run 100 miles. Yes. And I often do 30 miles in a day. I can lift over 30,000 pounds in half an hour, several feet. I do more work than anyone else in the gymnasium. By far. Most of those people could be just stuffing themselves, actually, but starving. And there's a lot of misinformation out here, enormous amount of misinformation. But anyway, let's remember how important our intestinal flora is. There's a lot of creatine and urea, here's a lot of substance for us actually, a lot more than what we have at all. So as long as we're in good health, it puts us in a better health. So we have some videos. This is who's I got down the back to the connected. Would you have a contact number to connect? 718. Right on the board, mate. I'll just read it, and then you can remember right on the board. 718-457-4455. And then you'll write that on the board. That beautiful Condor who is in the blue shirt, he's got a personal assistant here. The cycle is floating around. You might connect with Tim also, Tim's our producer. So anyway, love you. Hope you have a wonderful show.